slow starts, winning streaks ending, weather delays. It was a crazy week in the Twin Counties. Hello, folks. Josh Wolf is joined as always by Foster Lander. Foster, we're going to start this week with the private schools. Rocky Mountain Academy, a big win on Tuesday night against Henderson Crossroads Christian, but it certainly was not easy in that first half.
And they've kind of made a habit, too, of starting really slow in the first quarter, as they did it against Faith Christian, too. They were down 8 points after a quarter on Tuesday. But you could kind of tell that if they started to make shots, if Henderson Crossroads Christian stopped making some threes, they'd be okay, and they were. And a really balanced effort, too, which was nice to see from them.
Now, part of the reason you were there, you did a story on Elijah McCadden that will appear in Saturday's edition of the Rocky Mountain Telegram. You know, McCadden is one of those odd players, in my opinion, because he's at a small private school in this area, and we don't really cover him a lot, but he's got some big-time offers out there from some D1 schools.
He does, and he's been at Rocky Mountain Academy since kindergarten, so he's been there forever. It's not like he just kind of swooped in and ended up at this small private school. I don't think he's going anywhere, but a lot of his recruiting has come from the AAU circuit. He's got an offer from Charlotte as just a sophomore. He's got Old Dominion, Wake Forest, Florida, some schools like that, so some really high major type programs. And if you talk to Trey Sumler, who played at Nash Central in Western Carolina, really, really good player for them, but he says McCadden, he's a special talent for a sophomore.
We look at the Eagles. They went undefeated last year in the CIC. Mm-hmm. Didn't participate in the state tournament because of some snow issues. They're undefeated again this year. I mean, from what you've seen, you know, is this a team that's capable of running the table in the CIC? And if so, how far could they potentially go even in the state tournament?
I don't see why not. They beat Harrell's Christian, who had beaten them the last 2 years, and they really haven't had a ton of trouble with most of these conference teams. But when you've got a kid like McCadden, and you've got Aubrey Mitchell and some experienced forwards, Kyle Howland, Brendan Acker, some big guys down low. So they're a pretty well-balanced team, and you kind of get the sense that they'll go as far as McCadden will take them.
All right, we'll switch away from the Eagles. We'll go to the Big East. I mentioned winning streaks ending. Northern Nash, 32 consecutive regular season wins in conference. They fell Thursday night at Wilson Fike, the first time in recent memory they've lost to somebody that wasn't Rocky Mountain High, I should say, in the conference. So that opens up the Big East tremendously. We saw Nash Central earlier this week give the Knights a great run for their money, taking them to overtime. We know Rocky Mountain High with the Lady Griffons are strong with Kiana Spivey down low. I mean, we kind of talked about this last week a little bit, but you know, now that Northern Nash has lost, does that open up the Big East now, maybe more so than it ever has been?
I think so, and it seems like I wasn't here last year, obviously, for Big East basketball, but it seems like they're pretty well balanced. There have been some close games so far. Nash Central and Rocky Mountain High splitting the two games they've seen, one in conference play and one in the Christmas tournament. So, you know, I get the sense that it is pretty wide open.
And of course, I think the biggest surprise comes from the guys. And once again, it's Northern Nash that's a surprise, but it's a surprise because they started off so well in the non-conference season. They're now 1-3 like they were last year. I mean, is this a team that can potentially have the type of run they had at the end of last year where they almost they came within a game of winning the Big East?
I think it'll be a little bit tougher for them given that Nash Central is as strong as they are, that Rocky Mountain High, not strong, but 1-3, and to see that Nash Central is 3-0 with a chance to be 5-0 by the middle of next week, it's going to be tough for them to come back from that.
You talk about the Bulldogs. Josh Mullins, a big game, 39 points against Northern Nash on Tuesday night to bring the Bulldogs to 3-0. This is a team that started 0-4. They made the final at the Christmas tournament. You know what? They beat Southern Nash. Southern Nash, probably the same skill level. Wasn't surprised. They gave Northern a little bit of their run for their money. Okay, it's a conference. It's a county rivalry. They went to Cleveland and made the final of that tournament, beating a couple of teams from the Triangle. They start off 3-0 in conference. It seems like it's building, and we kind of talked about this off camera. Next week's big for them. They play Southern Nash on Tuesday. They play Hunt on Wednesday. If they're 5-0, it seems like it's hard to say that they're not going to win the conference if you beat, you know, a team of Wilson Hunt's caliber. But if they're 3-2, you know, Hunt and Southern Nash and all these other schools, so we're kind of near the halfway point at this point. Who is the favorite in the Big East, boys? And who do you think will end up winning it?
To me, it's Nash Central, given that, and we were talking about this a little bit off camera just now, that it seems like they've started to kind of figure out who they are. Josh Mullins was really the only guy scoring for them earlier in the year. He was putting up 30, 40, consistently, and he can still do that. But when you've got Elijah Cole putting up 25 points a night, Kashawn Peoples getting out and running and finishing in transition, and Montre Cash giving them a good kind of a calming option at point guard, you have to think that, especially if they at least split next week, that they're the favorites going into the second half of conference play.
No doubt about it. And we saw that Tuesday night. Even though Mullins scored 39 points, Montre Cash just out 13 assists. Cole had 18 points. Peoples had 21 points. When you get offensive production like that, they're going to beat most teams in the Big East. The other game I'm going to briefly talk about, Tarboro absolutely destroyed North Edgecombe on Thursday night. Rasheed Herring hit 4 3-pointers in the first half. Tarboro hit 6 in the first quarter alone to jump out to a massive lead. North Edgecombe never really had a response. So the Vikings are now 3-2 in the Two Rivers. Kind of a little bit more confident, but they're a little bit upset. They blew 2 leads against South Creek this season for their only 2 conference losses. But Foster and I will be around the Big East next week with a massive rescheduling due to all the weather. So check back in next week where we recap everything in the Twin Counties.